Oh my God, Adam. Protests have rocked Columbia University and got class canceled.
Wow. That used to be a good thing, right?
Yeah, you wonder how many of these kids are like, I don't really care about all this stuff, but I have a test on Monday. And I don't really want to do that. So, yeah, support Palestine, Gaza. Woo.
You have planned opposition, right?
Yes, yes. So, there's been some crazy amount of protesting that's been going on in Columbia. First, actually, for like the last few days, starting like the 16th or the 17th, there was a bunch of protests that broke out on Columbia University. And actually, we talked about it. They had the Columbia president was dragged before Congress and essentially was like, please, I'm trying to not be anti-Semitic. I'm trying to protect the Jewish kids, on campus. Don't fire me. Don't fire me. Don't fire me. As she was getting, hit with all the questions. And before she, had to testify, they had the police come in and essentially break up and arrest some of the students. There had been students who had constructed their own. You remember the Chaz, the
I
chop?
do. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So a bunch of students in Columbia had done this. They had erected a bunch of tents on the lawn of campus and they had cordoned the area off and they declared it like, some kind of autonomous zone for Palestine or something. And you know, the day before this all went, the president of Colombia had to go testify. Of course, because it would look really bad if this still existed while she was testifying. She has the police come in and basically arrest everyone and round them all up, including Ilhan Omar's daughter. And we'll talk about that story later because it's kind of hilarious. But in response to that, the protesters tapped three red mana and now have all come out and have reconstructed their own the tent city again, and have doubled down on protesting on campus. And it has gotten so bad, so out of hand that they actually canceled class today. Class will be done via Zoom, and certain Jewish professors apparently have been like told to not even show up on campus because the school can't guarantee their safety.
That is that's ridiculous. Really?
Yes. Yes.
They're threatening to actually harm these Jewish professors?
Well, no, no, no. So like there have been instances of protesters and students attacking other, Jewish students, including like one person was apparently stabbed in the eye with a flag. One person said that they had a weighted bag thrown at them. A lot of students have said that they've been, verbally accosted just because they are wearing a Jewish star, a yarmulke, even if they weren't on a protest. And so, you know, but anyway, so a lot of crazy stuff's going on. So I kind of collected a bunch of footage of what's going on in the last couple of days, and I figured we should, go through it so everyone has a good taste of what's going on Columbia campus right now.
Right. Okay, just to recap, a real quick recap. They had erected some sort of autonomous zone. The police came in, broke it up. Then the
Yes.
hearing took place at Congress. They
Yes.
broke it up before the hearing so that they could say, "Look, we took care of this business." But after the hearing took place at Congress, the kids reconstructed it and they're going for
Yes.
round 2.
Yes.
Okay, is this round
Exactly.
2 that we're watching
This
here?
is round two that we're watching. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect.
Now, Vegas didn't want to play nice with my laptop, so I basically had to like really jerry rig this. So you'll see my mouse cursor because essentially I had the
That's okay.
OBS screen record
That's
the
all right.
project that wouldn't render. So that's why it might look a little janky, but it's
Okay.
still pretty good.
Let's see.
So this is just what it looks like right now,
Right.
with all the tents erected. And a sign that says, Welcome to the People's University for Palestine.
So how much of this is psychological reactance? Congress comes in and says, "No, you can't do this." And they're like, "What? Did somebody say we can't do this?"
Probably a
Right?
lot of it, yeah.
They're basically just lashing out.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Nice. Okay, so this is audio is awful here.
Oh, is it really quiet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me see if I can
See if you
work
can
on
turn it
that.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird because it was like blaring on my speakers, but for some reason OBS was like not wanting to pick it up.
Okay. Yeah, it's way, way down.
Okay. We'll just
You
pop
if
it
you want
up.
to read a couple super chats while I work on this.
Yeah. Stuck for 2 hours says this anti-Semite lady sounds like a real bitch. That's true. Gotta be careful of anti-Semite. And Metal Face Rose for $5 says, watch the documentary Hail Satan. I'm not sure if it's a good documentary, but it's quite interesting.
Training ground.
Hail Satan. Interesting. Never heard of it. I'll check it out.
We're getting close.
Okay.
It was like 500%.
Not
Let's go 600%.
okay. Okay. Look at this. Look at Adam's technical skills on the fly here.
Okay, here we go.
What you all are doing here is training ground. It is training ground. The level of organization, have you organized your food? Have you organized your little tents? How you like literally occupied one space and then went to the next one? That is training ground for fighting. And that's what we need. We need fighters. There is no better school than this occupied space. I don't know what the hell they're teaching in those classrooms, but they ain't learning what y'all learning here.
This is really what you want on your college campuses, right?
Well, look, we've put forward a theory many times on the show about how revolutions all start off as LARPing until people show up with actual weapons. I don't think these are the people, these are the LARPers right here, but they are going to embolden the people who do want to hurt people, who do want to commit acts of physical violence on other people, and are just looking for something that they can call a just cause to do it. Yeah.
Right.
So,
yeah. But so, yeah, we have a woman who's, very openly advocating for the leftist socialist resistance movement to be training, during this during this time on this college campus. So,
yeah.
This is the classroom. This is the struggle. And I know many of you are graduating, or some of you are graduating in the next couple of weeks. Leave this space. Don't leave the spirit of resistance.
Take it right over to your job at Bank of America.
How do you think they're going to like that?
Take it right over to your Fidelity Investments job. Oh my God.
I mean, I'm glad this is happening because America really needs to wake up. The Democrats and the left who are not, socialists really need to wake up and actually deal with this problem. That's the only way this is going to go. This is not going to go away by people closing their eyes. It's just going to keep growing out of control.
Yeah. Well, look, we have a crisis of authority going on here.
Yes.
Nobody feels they have the authority to step in and say, hey, this is wrong. Even the Colombia president, they're trying, but they're like, yeah, no one's listening to us. Yeah, because nobody sees you as a reputable authority anymore. These people laugh in your face.
Well,
until some heads roll, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to change.
Well, it's interesting because I guess that the only reason the Colombia president, went and arrested the first group is because they're terrified of losing their job the way, Claudine Gay and the other woman lost their job because of their response to all this stuff. And if the students are just going to come back, I think, the faculty and the president, they just need to double down and say, if you keep coming back, we're just going to arrest you every time. And if you get arrested more than once, then we're going to actually press charges against you and hold you in jail.
Or just expel them.
Well, they've already done
to
that.
school here. So they've expelled these students?
So that they expelled like 100 of the first round of students that they arrested.
Okay, so they're expelled from the university.
Right. And so what I'm saying is they should do is what they need to do, assuming the police will cooperate with them, because that's a whole other issue. But assuming the police will cooperate with them, just have the police come in, first just say, listen, you all need to dispel from here. You have like, 30 minutes to dispel, or we're going to just arrest everyone here. They don't do it, arrest everyone there. If they expel them all and say, you can't, physically come onto this campus or we'll arrest you. If they come back, just arrest them for
Yeah,
trespassing, keep them in jail, and that's the only solution. You can't let people just get away with this. You have to say, no, you're going to break before we do. Okay.
right. Yeah. Well, unless they give them like a year jail time, something like that, it's got to be meaningful. Like if they're just spending the night in jail, they're like, oh, that was easy. I'm going back.
Well, it's funny because like Ilhan Omar's daughter who got expelled was like complaining about, her whole, her whole experience when
In
she got
jail?
arrested. Yeah, she was in jail for like 12 hours or something.
Yeah, see, that's not meaningful. Oh,
And
like I
but
said,
yeah,
heads
no,
got to
I know.
roll.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but she was all complaining about it. And she's like, I can't get to my room and get my stuff, and I can't get to the cafeteria, so I can't eat food. What am I gonna do?
right. Yeah. Well, maybe one night is enough for her.
These kids are soft, okay?
Struggle is a long march, and our enemy is fully equipped. This is training ground. This is building community. But when you leave these walls, you best believe there's more struggle.
So this audio is just awful, but there's nothing you can do about it. I'll tell you what they're saying here. They just said, we say justice, you say how, burn Tel Aviv to the ground.
No way.
Yeah. Now this isn't on the campus. It's across the street from the campus. So but that's what they Okay, what they just said was Hamas, we love you. We support your rockets too.
Wow.
So they also said Al-Qassam, which is like the militant wing of Hamas, they said, you make us proud, take another soldier out. This is across the street from Columbia University.
Attention, everyone. Can I get everyone to form a human chain right here, please? We have Zionists that have entered the camp. My check! Repeat after me. We have Zionists. Who have entered the camp. We are going to create a human chain. Where I am standing. So that they do not pass this point. And infringe upon our privacy. And try to disrupt our community.
Not just like the cringiest thing you've ever seen.
Yeah.
That human mic stuff. Remember that's all like the Occupy Wall Street nonsense was this human mic stuff. It's like, oh, so cringy.
Yeah, I all of these people were raised in houses on stolen land. I'm 100% certain of it. So they're just like the biggest hypocrites in the world.
So what you're watching right now this is on Columbia campus in the area that these protesters have just declared is theirs, even though this is campus. And I like that the guy's like, alert, alert, a Zionist has entered the area. Alert, we must stop the Zionists from entering the area that they're completely allowed to enter because they're a student at this school.
This is terrifying.
Please join me in this chain.
Please join me in this chain.
I feel so loved.
What makes someone a Zionist?
Do you see what you guys are doing to us?
Well, either they support Israel or they're just Jewish. So you
Right.
assume that, because there were people, now I don't know the truth of this, but there are people, there was a person who's claiming that they were the one that was taking the video and that they weren't even protesting or anything. They're just wearing like a Jewish star or something. And that's kind of what got all this, this situation started.
We are going
Do you see
to
how hostile this
slowly
is? And you're asking me not to record?
walk and take a step forward.
Yeah, I absolutely feel threatened right now.
So that we can start to push them out of the camp. One step forward. Another step forward. We ask that you please respect our privacy and our community guidelines, which you have so far disrespected, and leave our camp.
Do you like that these people, okay, they have zero legal right to do this, and they just plop down in this area, declare it's theirs, and say, well, we've just said that this is our area, and we've created community guidelines that now you have to follow. It's like, get the fuck out of here with this. Screw you.
It's very colonialist.
You know what? They should be like, listen, you're colonizing the space.
Yeah,
you
why are
please
you
stop?
colonizing this space? It belongs to
Yes.
us. Why are you
I'm a student
colonizing
here.
our space?
Yes. You've taken
Just
a public
commandeering it for
space
yourself?
and you privatized it with your colonial ambitions.
Exactly.
One step forward.
They're so excited about this.
I
They're
know.
just so happy that they all get to. It's very reminiscent of what Haidt talks about in The Righteous Mind, about how community movement together kind of solidifies the community. He brings up the Maypole festivals as an example. This is like a modern day Maypole festival turned into like activism, like
Yes. Yeah.
protest. Yeah.
And it's funny because, like, you're right. They're so excited to do this, but they also don't really know what to do because they're all like,
Yeah, because this thing is going to form. This thing's going to form once. Like the
Yes.
Maypole festival happened every May, right? Everyone got
Yeah.
got progressively better at it.
right.
This is like, yeah, this is like on the fly activism. They're like, look, we need meaning in our lives. We need to come together as a community. It is sad. It is
Yeah,
sad
it
because
is.
they would look down their nose at people who joined the military and actually did this, for a living.
Mm-hmm.
But they're so desperate to do it themselves.
If I though lived in New York City, I would be 100% down there with like a big old shirt that just had like a Jewish star on it, just like
Yeah.
trying to trigger as many people as possible and filming it just to see. It'd be great content.
I would be right down there with you. Look,
Yes. Oh my God.
I'm an instigator, man. I'd wear a shirt that said colonialist.
Oh, that's good. That's
I'm
good.
here to colonize your land.
Yes, yes. It should. Oh, what about if Search said America should colonize Gaza?
Yeah, that's it.
Like, listen,
Israel-
I'm trying to protect it from Israel. Okay, it'll be an American colony.
Yeah. If Israel doesn't want it, we'll take it. Is it up for grabs?
Have you got enough video? Because I look very pretty.
Ah ha 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 ha. Ah.
Yes.
You guys don't have to do this, You're all here because we're here. Why are you giving us
We were
that
here
power?
before you came here.
I understand that, but you're doing what
Repeat
you're doing.
after me.
You're doing what you're doing.
I'm bored.
this is the power trip going on here.
I know. That's what
This
you.
is
It's like Evergreen University. Remember?
the power trip going on here.
It was like you would just see these student protesters that would just get so high on like that they could command a crowd or that they could tell a teacher to like F off.
Yeah.
And it is gross. I don't know. And this is how I know I'm like so individualist.
Oh
Like when I
yeah,
just
me
see this
too.
crowd and just mindlessly chanting like zombies, it just disgusts me.
I am so disgusted too.
Yes.
This is
Yeah.
look, all of you have given all of your autonomy to this person that you have no idea. This person could be a rapist. This person could be a child murderer.
Right.
You have no idea. You're here
They could be a
chanting-
cannibal. Okay.
Yeah. You're here chanting anything that they say.
Right.
And look, it's just the irony of this, because if we interviewed any one of these people and asked them about, what are the problems of the military? Oh, mindlessly following orders, obviously, right? These
Right.
soldiers, they just take orders from the top. Well,
Mm-hmm.
what's going on here? What's happening here?
Mm-hmm.
It's like some root psychology that people just love to be. They love to be followers. They love to be little followers. But you have to keep tabs on who exactly you're going to follow. You could be following the next Adolf Hitler right here into battle. Yeah.
It's true.
Look, none of these people, most of these people probably don't even know this guy's name.
No.
Yeah.
Though actually, if we were in New York City, God, I kind of wish I was. Because the move wouldn't be the move wouldn't. I just realized the move wouldn't be to like wear our colonial shirts to trigger them. The move would be to dress up, with like the little Palestinian scarf and everything, and just try to get the crowd to say like the most crazy shit ever.
Exactly.
Yeah, like you kind of you have to like ramp it up slow. You start with like, oh, free Palestine, and you kind of move up to like from the river to the sea, and then you're like, rockets will bring freedom. Like, you just kind of keep ramping it up until it gets more and more crazy to see what you can get the crowd to say.
America sees Gaza.
At the very end, you could be like, there you go.
They'd probably do it because their minds are
would.
completely shut off at this point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. God, someone's got to do that. Someone in New York City do it.
We would like you to leave.
We would like you to leave.
You just did that for me.
Repeat after me.
Repeat after me.
I'm bored.
I'm bored.
My name's Aiden.
We're just actually trying to have a community meeting in a second.
Right, it's the same
Well, we're asking you nicely.
Why couldn't we be on the lawn?
Because you're not respecting the safety.
I'm on the lawn. I pay to go here. And I pay for this lawn to be manicured. I pay for the lights to be on. And if you're a student, you're also paying for that. And
I think the Jewish students should have a breakdancing contest on the lawn, just to like
that'd be
force all the,
amazing.
the anti-Israeli protesters to like have to stand at attention like retards and block them.
That'd be so good. That'd be so good.
Yeah.
This is. I mean, it's equal parts terrifying and comedy gold. So
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah, I know.
I'm conflicted here. I don't know which side this is going to turn, because I do believe like there are psychopaths out there that are looking at this and thinking, oh, this is a great opportunity for me to go out and crack some heads.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're talking about having some, good old fashioned trolling, but they're really thinking they want to hurt people. So
Right.
yeah.
Right.
That it was the Al-Aqsa flood that put the global intifada back on the table again. And it is the sacrificial spirit of the Palestinian freedom fighters that will guide every struggle on every corner of the earth to victory.
So it's just like a pro October 7th statement, I guess.
So what are we here? What are we ready to give up? How far are we willing to go in losing all the trappings of a respectable life? These imperial spoils that we have been taught to value as individuals.
I don't know if you read Haidt's new book. I think it's called The Anxious Generation.
Mm-hmm.
He makes an argument in there that's pretty interesting about how these people they want, like, they they, what is the word? They like get rid of their parents, abandon their parents. That doesn't seem right. They estrange themselves from their parents
Yeah.
so that they can feel some kind of resistance in the world, because they've basically just been coddled their entire lives. So it's been such a safe environment for them. They're looking for some kind of danger so that they can actually feel alive. And this completely screams to that argument. Like they're basically saying, what are we willing to give up? What are we willing to risk? How are we going to put ourselves in danger? Like they're
Mm-hmm.
so thirsty for that danger that they've never experienced in their entire lives, because they've had these helicopter moms and dads basically doing everything for them.
That's interesting. Yeah.
They're,
That
they're
is
like,
interesting.
this is it. This is the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as they get thrown in jail, they're like, oh my God, it was horrible. Where's my helicopter mom?
I couldn't eat food for 13 hours. Oh my God. I'm
Exactly.
dying. So, and also,
I like to comfort myself, but go ahead.
yeah, so this person is talking about, the trappings of imperialism that the students are all living under. So this school to go into to live on campus, according to Columbia, cost about 90 grand a semester.
A semester?
Yeah.
My God, most
It's
Americans don't make 90 grand a year.
Yeah, so you have, like, mostly a bunch of spoiled, rich or upper middle class kids who are like whining about the trappings of imperialism and money that they all come from.
Yeah. Oh, the irony.
Mm-hmm.
This is just, what's that called? Elite overproduction? What is that?
Right.
What is that? You have this many people that can afford look, that's $180,000 a year, right? Just for tuition. What about books? What about housing costs? That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane levels of wealth.
Right. Though that, I mean, to be fair, that's before any aid. Usually people get aid and stuff. But
is that
still.
in-state? Is that in-state tuition? Or
that's a good question. I don't know.
Look, probably most of them are paying out of state because it's like an Ivy League. They want to go to the Ivy League school, right? Is Columbia Ivy League? People contested that Duke was Ivy League. They were like, Adam, that's not Ivy League.
Well, I thought Duke is like, isn't Duke on the cusp of Ivy League?
I don't
I
don't know how they define Ivy League.
Right. I thought, didn't Duke want to be like the Harvard of the South or something? I don't know.
Right.
But whatever.
As the great black communist James Boggs said, the revolution to be made in the United States will be the first revolution in history to require the masses to make material sacrifices rather than to acquire more material things. We must give up many of the things which this country has enjoyed at the expense of damning over 1/3 of the world into a state of underdevelopment, ignorance, disease, and early death. What will we do to gain back our humanity?
I hate that argument that these other nations, which are basically dictatorships, authoritarian dictatorships, where the elites of those nations subjugate the population, and they don't unleash the power of capitalism and property rights, where people will develop businesses and like a thriving economic system will grow. It's being suppressed by these authoritarian elites who are basically, taking all the spoils of whatever the nation produces for themselves and suppressing people's desire to actually make things and produce things for themselves and tax lightly, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that they conceptualize as our fault, America's fault, from all the way across the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what? How is that our fault? Right?
It is, because everything's America's fault. Okay.
They just have such a terrible, terrible worldview. And the way that they crap on capitalism and property rights just because there are people in the world that don't have property or are not, business savvy. Just it's so I hate that. There's the all human beings have this like will to power, will to status, and capitalism completely unleashes that for two productive means or two productive ends. And they completely deny that. It's sad.
No, yeah, well, they don't understand any of how any of this works. About
Yeah.
how life, reality, psychology. So she said, did she say the black communist James Bond said?
I thought you did, yeah.
I don't know who
I
she's
might have
talking
been
about.
I might have been mishearing it, but
And I
I
tried
mean,
to look up this person. I was like, who is she talking about? I can't find anything about this person she's talking about. I don't know.
To stand in history with the oppressed masses of the world as subjects of revolution. Every single university in Gaza has been destroyed by the very regime propped up by the universities of the imperial core, like Columbia. Shame! Shame! If the demand is that Columbia University divest from the Zionist entity, then the students of Columbia must also divest from the lie that it sells them. The lie of meritocracy, the lie of upward mobility, the lie of class society itself.
see, look, speaking it.
Mm-hmm.
They think the meritocracy is a lie. They
Of
think
course.
upward mobility is a lie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They've all been infected with this socialist nonsense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if there are only so many elite spots in the world and we're producing 5 times as many elites as we need to run society, then there is no upward mobility.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when the revolution breaks out.
Exactly.
All of these lies are built on the bones of the colonized masses. To fight tooth and nail against our enemy by any means necessary is to fight for the continuation of life itself. That the elite, educated youth in the imperial core have had enough and are growing teeth and are starting to show them again is the swan song of this bloody, illegitimate empire.
So there you go. We have people advocating for not only violence, but, tearing down America.
The swan song of our bloody empire. I mean, first of all, you make America sound so badass. I'm like,
that's true. We are pretty badass.
But I just look, we've been through a civil war, a Great Depression. I mean, the housing crash doesn't even seem big by comparison to those things. And just the idea that America is not going to be around. I mean, America's really got its shit together compared to China and Russia.
But the capitalism is destroying us from the world. We're in late stage capitalism, Adam. It's coming down any time. Okay.
Okay, kids. It's past your bedtime.
These kids are like, the guys that are like on the street corner with the sign that's like the end is near.
Right.
And they'll be out there for like 50 years.
Of course. Yeah, that's exactly what's going on.
The end is always coming,
It's never too late.
If the enemy loses the youth who they have tried to buy off in exchange for a comfortable place in the bourgeois pecking order, they lose the foundation of their genocidal project.
Not true. Young people rarely vote. That's why they never get any policy prescriptions aimed at them. Well, but Biden did try, obviously, with the student debt relief, but
yeah, I think anyone that engaged in these protests should not only not get student debt relief, they should have to pay extra. They should have to pay for the others. They should have to pay. Here's a new policy. Any student that gets arrested at this, taking over the campus should have to pay for the other student's semester for interrupting their class. How about that?
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Great idea. So much of the voting base is middle class, middle-aged Americans. So you're wrong. You're totally wrong. You guys don't even vote. You're out protesting. Oh, I forgot to vote again.
Yeah. But also just this idea that like, oh, The only reason that there's wars and conflict in the world is because of capitalism and imperialism. As if, communist countries never got into wars or took over other countries or caused conflict in the world.
Right. Yeah. Soviet Union.
Yeah, I guess you're asleep. Well, I mean, obviously these people don't, they weren't alive during the Cold War, but they're completely asleep during history class. They're out protesting during history class. This is actually, I think, one of the biggest failings, at least, in my education, was there was so little conversation in any of my history class about the Soviet Union and the Cold War
Right.
in any of my history classes. And I think that's been one of the biggest disservices to America and American children, and what's allowed this nonsense to go, to even be allowed to spread.
Well, me being a little bit older than you, I had a world cultures teacher that openly said commies in my class constantly. So he did teach me quite a bit about the Soviet Union and the Iron
Mhm.
Curtain and
That's
how the
good.
commies took over East Germany and the blockade for East Berlin by the commies.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think I even remember writing commies on one of my tests and him being like, "Yep, that's good. That works."
Nice. A base. Get a base teacher.
Yeah, totally.
But
So,
I think that's part of the problem is that, like, my generation, the millennial generation, didn't have, we just didn't, and I've heard this repeated from almost everyone around my age. Just there was not an emphasis whatsoever on teaching about the Soviet Union. Like
right.
I didn't have any education that was pro-communist, so it just wasn't even discussed really. It's like, oh, and
Yeah.
they were communists and they had a Cold War. And it was always kind of seen as like, oh, America was kind of equally as bad as the Soviet Union in terms of like Cold War because of Vietnam and things of that nature.
Yeah, it's funny how you have you have 7 classes a day for 4 years in high school. Like that world
6 classes.
culture's okay.
Did you have 7 classes?
I'm not I could be off one.
Oh, okay.
The I swear I had 7 classes though. But
Hmm.
anyway, um the you don't remember so many of the classes. Like I remember so much from that world cultures class cuz that instructor was just amazing. And
Right.
he like basically he talked about Russia or the Soviet Union just basically being desperate for a freshwater year-round port because it's so cold and they're in the north, so they don't have any access to the ocean during the wintertime.
Hmm.
And I mean, what's happening right now? That's still playing out, right? That's all this business in Ukraine, right? They
Right.
want that port so badly, so desperately.
Hmm.
When they stop being afraid, we lose. When we become so complacent, so ignorable, that they can continue the status quo that we so abhor, we lose. To call for escalation right now is an understatement. The only language the enemy speaks is that of genocide and war.
So, okay, so this person's on the campus. They're very, very explicitly calling for escalation into violence. Okay,
Yeah.
from the other college students. So,
That's the only language they understand, escalation
yep.
and war. Yeah.
They are hell-bent on destroying everything to maintain business as usual. The Zionist genocide of Palestinians in Gaza is proof of this.
I mean, the fact that you guys can all sit around on campus, and get coddled with the kid gloves kind of completely shows your entire worldview is wrong, but that's besides the point, I guess.
Yeah. I think of the status quo as going to college and getting a degree and getting a job at some big
Hmm.
corporation. That's like the status quo.
Right.
I think of the non-status quo as like starting your own business, dropping out of college, right? That's what I think is against the status quo. I would encourage these kids to fuck that status quo.
There you go.
Forge your own way.
Remember that as you defy their regime, you are sacrificing a world that in so many ways was built to serve you. Remember that your rebellion is a thorn in their side and a festering wound that they will do anything to try and cover up.
She is saying that they're elites, basically.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
like, this is our elite structure, and we're going to say
Yep.
no to it so that we can slum it with the Gazan people.
There's like this weird thing.
Remember that
There's a term for it, and I don't know if maybe someone in chat knows. And I think it's really an important psychological phenomenon that's basically trapped a lot of these people, which is a lot of young people who have lived privileged lives and they haven't suffered like anything really traumatic in their life. They lived in a middle class, upper middle class, or rich family, and they're basically have most of their needs provided for, but they still feel depressed, or they still feel anxious, or they feel like there's something psychologically wrong with their lives, which is a very common thing for people to feel. But then there's like this weird guilt complex that forms in their mind because they're like, well, I shouldn't feel depressed or sad or anxious because I've lived this privileged life. And so they start to like um sort of like they self-flagellate over their own feelings of depression and anxiety. And I think that feeds into a lot of why these privileged kids end up getting sucked into these movements because they feel like this movement allows them to feel purpose, which kind of covers up their feelings of anxiety and depression, and then also assuages their guilt of even feeling those things in the first place because they're privileged.
Well, I think some of the anxiety and depression can be from their so their elite status is pretty firm as kids, but it's very precarious as they grow up and get into college this because of the meritocracy, which obviously they think is a fraud, but does exist. Because if they don't succeed meritocratically, we don't live in an aristocracy anymore, where just because their parents were well off, they can bestow a position of power upon them. I mean, there are certain examples where that takes place. Somebody takes over the family business, or in situations like that. But if your mom or dad are high-powered attorneys, right? They can't just necessarily, you've got to achieve certain credentials in order to follow in their footsteps. And if you can't achieve those credentials, you're kind of shit out of luck.
Yeah, that could be part of it, but I think it's like, in Fight Club, which is
Hmm.
part of why Fight Club's such a brilliant movie, is because it applies to what's going on right now. Is you have, Edward Norton's character who, he has a good job, and it's like a boring job, and it's a job that he feels is immoral, but he has money, and he like lacks purpose in life. And I feel like that's
Right.
like a lot of these kids, they have money, they have resources, they've been coddled, and yet they lack purpose, or they still feel depressed or anxious. So they still feel this like psychological problem. And then, but they also have the cognition to know that they shouldn't feel that way because they're privileged, and it creates this complex in their mind. And so, joining these movements, like a movement like this or BLM or something, it like tricks them into thinking like, oh, this is how I assuage my guilt. I'm going to simultaneously find purpose and also, dedicate my life to helping others, essentially.
Right. I think both could be going on with different people.
Yeah,
Obviously, if there
sure.
are people who have a way to, maintain their status outside of growing up wealthy with their parents,
Hmm.
then they could be in the Edward Norton position where they're like, look, I inherited the family business, or my dad got me a job at his corporation. My place in the status hierarchy is secure,
Right.
but they still feel it on an emotional level that, this is all life is. They're basically experiencing the Fight Club experience. But I do think there are also kids that are, back when there was an aristocracy, right? If the
Hmm.
kid was stupid or incapable of doing whatever, the job was, they would still get that position, right? Because that's how it went from family to family. So they always knew that their place in the hierarchy was secure, no matter what. Now, like, there's this meritocracy in place. So, if your dad is a high power attorney or a high powered doctor or anything, you have certain status, you have certain requirements, certain credentials that you have to get to achieve your place in the hierarchy. And that's got
Hmm.
to be completely stressful for people. And then also, if, there's only, I don't know how many positions there are for high-powered attorneys in the United States. If there's 500 positions in the status hierarchy for high-powered attorneys, and each of those high-powered attorneys has 2 kids that want to get into that status hierarchy, well, there's not positions for 2,000 high-powered attorneys, right?
Right.
So that makes it even more precarious because they're all competing to get those credentials, right? And then there's not even really a space for them. They're like, I've achieved the credentials, but all the Supreme Court clerkships have been given away to these other kids.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah, that's kind of the argument in the, I can't remember the name of the book, but where he talked about elite overproduction. This is kind of the argument that is made there. So I do think both things can be taking place simultaneously, just in different aspects.
Probably.
Remember that your rebellion is a thorn in their side and a festering wound that they will do anything to try and cover up.
Makes me want to dig really into this person's background. Like, what exactly is going on here, right?
It would be interesting, yeah.
Like, what is this person? What is the plan for this person? What is this person studying? What are they going to be?
They're studying, they have a major in resistance
Right, yeah.
and a minor in decolonization.
Yeah, but okay, but I mean, I'd be willing to bet some substantial money that this person's parents they're like high-powered attorneys or doctors, or I mean, there's not they can't really be trash collectors, right?
Right. Probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, there's only really certain positions that can get high up in that status hierarchy. Congresswoman, right?
Remember that militancy breeds resistance. Thousands upon thousands of students around the world have been moved to rebel because of your militancy.
And it's all completely useless.
Yes.
Because the thing that you're asking for in Congress, look, what are we going to do? Send a nice please and thank you note to Israel? Like, it's not even our power.
Well, I mean, it's even dumber because like it's Columbia University. They're not even at Congress. What is Columbia University supposed to do?
Right. Yeah. Look, it's so far removed from any plausible political action. Yeah.
And they give that fake like, oh, you should feel good like by you coming out here and LARPing, in a tent, for a night. You're helping the resistance globally, right? Like, get out.
You're deluding yourself. You guys are all delusional.
At Berkeley in 1964, Mario Savio said, "There's a time when the operation of the machine becomes so odious, makes you so sick at heart that you can't take part. You can't even passively take part. And you've got to put your bodies upon the gears and upon the wheels, upon the levers, upon all the apparatus, and you've got to make it stop. And you've got to indicate to the people who run it, to the people who own it, that unless you're free, the machine will be prevented from working at all." Thank you.
Give it up for Ty again. For bringing some real fucking politics into the space, right?
So, if you didn't catch that, you have pro-Palestinian protesters on campus telling Jewish people, "Uncultured bitches, go back to Europe. You have no culture. All you do is colonize."
I mean, that is a culture. That's like
there you go. That's a good point. Yeah.
That's like saying the Borg didn't have a culture. No, they had all cultures. What are you talking about?
There you go. I like it. That's true.
All you do is colonize. Who is here first?
Stop killing
So what they're chanting, not English, is for Hamas to strike Tel Aviv.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice people you've assembled here.
Okay, so this is from this morning after Columbia came out and issued the statement that classes would be canceled in person and everyone had to go on Zoom.
Okay.
And this is the protesters' reaction.
Win to announce.
So she said we have a win to announce.
For folks who weren't here earlier this afternoon, we shared that the university has now lost this lawn, which is a critical part of their graduation commencement setup, which is costing them thousands of dollars.
Okay, so they said that they have lost their lawn, the access to their lawn for using it in graduation.
Right. Commencement ceremonies.
Okay. Which is costing them money, right?
Right. Thousands of dollars.
Yeah. How, if you're in university administration here and you don't get the police to just arrest all these people and expel them all, you are the biggest loser cuck of all time. And you should just end it yourself.
You should just return to your cuck corner.
Yeah, you should return to
watch this protest in silence.
You should get, you know what? That's what we should do. If you're not going to get the police to come in here and just arrest all these stupid fucking kids and expel them all, all the administrators should just bring out the little cuck chairs.
Yep, exactly.
The hotel cuck chairs, and they could just sit there and they could watch and they could put their little hands in their lap and they could just watch as the cucks that they are.
Yeah, exactly.
You literally have the protesters bragging and cheering that not only they're getting class canceled, but that they're costing the university money by having to reschedule everyone's graduation.
Oh, that's so painful. Can you imagine? Like a lot of people fly in for their kids' graduation and stuff.
Yep. They don't give a shit.
A-holes.
And we will not move. Our graduating students in this encampment will not move until our demands are met. We also just found out, as of tomorrow, all classes will have an online option. Because we will not fucking leave until we get divestment.
What's the divestment that they want?
There's some accusation that Columbia University supports businesses or works with businesses that work with Israel. Okay. Which, by the way, is like a lot of that'd be like if saying if in the food court of Columbia, just hypothetically, I don't know if it's true, but in the food court of Columbia, if they had McDonald's, they'd be like, well, you need to kick McDonald's out of the food court because there's a McDonald's in Israel, right?
Yeah.
It's not even saying that Columbia is directly engaged with business with Israel. They're just engaged with businesses that are engaged with Israel.
Yeah, that's why I laughed. I'm like, it's like all businesses.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Like what major corporation is not in Israel?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, well, that's advocating for violence.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes. Now, this was on the street during the first protest when the police came and rounded up all the students. Was people cheering for this? Okay, this is how out of control these protests are getting. So don't let any of these fucking people gaslight you and be like, "Oh, they're just protesting for a ceasefire. They don't actually want Jews and they don't want Israelis to just be killed." Like that's all. It's just this is all gaslighting.
This is not advocating for a ceasefire. No, this is advocating for more fire,
violence. Yeah.
Al-Qassam, you make us proud. Kill another soldier now. Is what they're chanting?
Yeah.
Yes. Nice, very nice stuff here, Sitch. I'm glad you put this together.
Listen, when they say from river to the sea, I just mean that like everyone will live in peace. That's all I mean, right?
The democratic. This is so dumb. This is so dumb. Because it is, and look, they probably don't like Israel because Israel is a Western style capitalist free market democracy.
Yep.
That's why they don't like it.
Not
but that's
like
the reason why it's amazing.
Not like the socialist paradise of the religious, far right theocracy of Hamas. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's why this is so fucking stupid. These people are engaged in all this energy and all this activism for a group of people and a government that hates their ideology and would kill them all.
Yeah, as far as Islam goes. And also, I mean, just the fact that it's like a monarchical theocracy in Saudi Arabia and a lot of these Islamic states.
Yeah.
It's just what? Wild. It's the ultimate in hierarchical ruling structure.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think all these activists should have to go live in Palestine for a year.
Oh man.
Not even when the bombing's over, when the war's over, they should just go have to live under, Hamas rule, even PA rule, and just see what that's like. When they go advocating for gay rights and all that stuff.
They'll be screaming, "Save me, settler, save me."
So what he's saying in not English is that Palestine is Arab, meaning that they want to eliminate all Jews from the region.
Right. Yeah. So they're saying from the river to the sea, Palestine is Arab.
Yes, which is what the original saying was before, it was Palestine will be free.
Right. Yeah, they're ethno-nationalists.
Yep.
And that's what's so crazy about it. If white ethno-nationalists were doing this on a college campus, CNN would be all over this shit, losing their fucking minds.
Yep.
Because it's Arab ethno-nationalists. What?
Okay.
Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here.
I will say it's kind of funny. CNN actually is reporting on this.
Okay.
MSNBC, not so much. But I guess that shouldn't surprise anyone, right?
They're trying to rebuild their moniker, the most trusted name in news.
Yeah, yeah.
The most trusted name in news at one time.
Most of the news outlets are actually reporting on this, which is a good sign. They're kind of doing it a little bit tepidly. Some of them are doing it more, showing how bad it is. But I am curious to see in the coming days what the coverage is going to be like.
Yeah,
I do think this is a wake up call for a lot of people.
Maybe we can cover some of that coverage on Sunday.
Yeah,
do another Dante's Inferno.
Maybe.
Raise the banner of revolution.
University keeping the media out. This is the COO of the university.
So this is a Jewish professor who they're not allowing to come onto campus.
Wow.
I'm assuming because they don't think it'll be safe and they don't want to get sued if he gets like assaulted or something.
Beat up. Yeah. Wow.
Are we not letting the media in? What? Can you back up, please? My card has been deactivated? Why? Can you back up, please? Wait. Everybody, my card has been deactivated. This is Cass Holloway, the COO. This is Gerald Lewis. They were in the meeting where I asked them if Hamas is a terror organization, and they couldn't say that it is a terrorist organization. Why? I'm a professor. Why can't I?
Shy.
Hey! No. Speak out loud so the media
Shy, we are willing to take you to the math lawn.
No, I am a professor here.
We have a
Wait. everybody quiet. I am a professor here. I have every right to be everywhere on campus. You cannot let people that support Hamas on campus and me, a professor, not go on campus. Let me in now.
He's like, dude, calm down. We'll escort you over some area.
Yeah, no, I do. Yeah, no, I do feel to an extent, like it's like, okay, they don't want to get sued. They want to make sure no one gets assaulted on campus. So they're like, yeah, we'll escort you. You can't just let you like wander around for your own safety, which is horrible. But, I'm somewhat sympathetic. I am curious as to what is going on with the police situation. Have they asked the police to remove these people? Have they not asked the police to remove these people? What is going on here? Why has this been allowed to continue for, the last 2 days?
Yeah. He's definitely not wanting to cooperate with the university. It's kind of funny that even someone hypothetically on the university side is being so obstinate.
Well, he's claiming that he said that there was some meeting and the university wouldn't even admit that Hamas was a terrorist organization. So he's saying that the university is being like super cowardly, which they probably are, right?
Yeah, of course they are. Of course they are.
But you gotta crack down on this stuff. That's the only way this will go away. You have to crack down because already right now, and I'll kind of skip ahead because it's kind of like them complaining. It's not as interesting.
My God. Let's watch it. I want to see it. I want to see what's going on. Come on. This guy looks like a major Karen.
It's pretty funny.
Are you not letting a professor go on?
Let him in! Let him in!
And you know that.
So the entire Jewish lobby's out here.
Right.
This is just awful. This is such a PR nightmare for any university.
Yep.
You're gonna let me. No, you're gonna let me everywhere. You're gonna let me in any public space on campus, and you notice if you are not allowed there, then you say that you're not allowed there. I am allowed there. And wait, no.
That is pretty messed up that there's a bunch of places on campus that there's no Jewish people allowed.
I know, isn't it? Well, though, I wonder, like, yeah, there's the threat that you can get sued and everything. But it would be like from a very high-minded, better for the country. It would be better to just let them walk around, let some kind of violent incident occur.
Oh, yeah.
Just so you could crack down on all the protesters.
Yeah, because you'd have someone you could charge with felony assault and keep them in jail for a long time.
Right,
yeah.
and you would give the perfect validation for all the cowards in the administration to just say you're not allowed to do these protests, without authority from the college anymore.
Yeah. Kind of sucks that it comes down. But this guy seems to be volunteering. He's like, look, I'll take the bike lock.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say, listen, let him, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I kind of like my smile, Sitch. I don't know if I want to lose any teeth or anything.
Well, there you go.
Listen to me now. You will listen to me. I rarely listen. I rarely lose faith. You know what? I wish you'd let me into my job. No, everybody, please. Can I stand here so people will see me? Is that okay, or you're not letting me do it? This is a disgrace to the institution and the alumnus. This is a disgrace. Everybody silence. Everybody. Over here, we got the COO of Columbia University, Mr. Cass Holloway. Wait, no. They have deactivated my card. They are not letting me on campus because... Shame on you! I have not just a civil right as a Jewish person to be on campus. I have a right as a professor employed by the university to be on campus. They deactivated my card. These are 5 lawsuits happening, but we don't want to sue. We just want to be Jewish in public. Let us sue.
How can you do that? How can you do this?
I am a professor at the university. No, you cannot.
All right, they're denying you entry. That's not us.
Are you denying me entry?
Look at that, the black guy telling the Jewish guy he can't go into the campus.
Yes, the black police officers. Like, he's like, he's like, listen, it's not up to us. We're just here for like,
Security
safety. And like,
concerns. Yeah, exactly.
You talk to the administrators.
He's like, you can't do it, bub.
Mhm.
Sorry. Ah.
Wait, everybody, can I get this?
We can't have this blocking up here. Do the right thing and get this crowd back.
Everybody, whoa, everybody, we are cooperating with the NYPD. Let's step back. If Mr. Holloway, the COO, is willing to make a comment to the media, I would love that. Everybody.
Something tells me he's not going to make a comment. He doesn't look like
he doesn't look like he wants to make a comment.
Yeah, he doesn't really seem enthusiastic about that.
No, he doesn't. Yeah,
that opportunity.
What a surprise, right?
Please, lazy.
Okay, so this last clip, this is at MIT, I believe, last night, showing that they're doing their own version of it. It's spreading.
No way.
Yes.
Social contagion right here.
Well, and also, the same thing, this kind of interesting story. The same thing happened at Yale. Yale, they were having their own protest that was spreading. They had the police come and they arrested 47 people today at Yale to try to crack down on this. And then after they arrested 47 people, even more people obviously came out, to try to do this stuff. So
everyone's getting arrested. I want to be arrested too.
Yeah, it's literally like, oh my God, it's why Community was so ahead of its time with Britta, the character Britta, who is like the stereotype of like the woke California, college kid who she's like reading an article about her friend is getting arrested somewhere in the world for being in a protest.
Jealous.
And she's jealous. And so she starts her own bullshit protest about nothing on campus because she wants to get arrested. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. They all got a post on their Facebook, on their Twitter.
Yep. But you just gotta keep cracking down. I don't want to get this stuff to stop. So I have to give MSNBC credit because I looked up right now and there's a clip that was on Morning Joe today. And they're talking about it, but they showed a clip that we didn't show that was making rounds on Twitter, which was last night there were a bunch of students that were waving the American flag and the Israeli flag.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a female student underneath them because they were standing on like a pillar or something. There's a female student in the foreground underneath them that had a sign that said Hamas's next target and pointing to them.
Ouch. Wow.
And they showed this on MSNBC today, as well as showing, outside the campus, some person screaming in favor and, in support of Hamas directly.
Wow.
So I don't know. I mean, that is interesting. It's funny. I said this years ago. I said that Jews are going to be the thorn in the side of wokeness because the woke people are going to turn on the Jews. And, when they attack white people, no one cares, right? The white people say, oh, you're being anti-racist against white people. And all the left people, they roll their eyes and they say, they don't give a shit. But, it's hard for them to ignore, at least the older left, to ignore the minority of Jews from, being attacked this way. So,
yeah, Jewish people only what 2 to 5% of the population.
I think it's like 2%. Yeah,
it's tiny, so it's hard to say. It's easy when it's white people or the majority population,
right?
But like you're openly attacking such a small minority.
Mm-hmm.
That's completely contradictory to the woke philosophy.
Of course. Oh, because there's nothing. It's just them,
showing it,
setting up and everything.
Fascinating. This was great.
Yeah.
Thank you for compiling this.
Great and horrible, though, right?
Yeah. Exhilarating and disgusting at the same time.
Mm-hmm. The White House actually released a statement about this.
Oh, Sleepy Joe woke up for a statement?
Yeah, let me see if I can find it here. It's so annoying because like when you look at stuff so often, it's like you find a million articles talking about it without just giving you this statement.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Okay, here you go. It was a short statement. From the press secretary, they said, quote, while every American has the right to peacefully protest, calls for violence and physical intimidation targeting Jewish students and Jewish community are blatantly anti-Semitic, unconscionable, and dangerous. They have absolutely no place on any college campus or anywhere in the United States of America. And echoing the rhetoric of terrorist organizations, especially in the wake of the worst massacre committed against the Jewish people since the Holocaust, is despicable. We condemn these statements in the strongest terms.
Wow. Okay.
That's pretty good. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're like, okay, it's time for us to get out from under the thumb of these pro-Palestinian protesters that are never going to show up and vote for us anyway, and start trying to actually cater to the majority of Americans who
yes
support.
Listen, this is great. I'm excited. I want more of these dumb socialist kids to come out here and support Hamas. Okay, I'm an accelerationist for this stuff.
Insane.
Doctor.
You want to read some super chats, and then we'll do the story on Elon Omar's kid.
Yeah. And Dr. Diller sent me, of course, Lance of the Serfs is out here. He has a tweet that says the right side of history. And it's like a post about all the students, on the pro-Hamas side at all these college campuses.
They're on the right side of history, right?
Yeah, so
supporting Holocaust 2.0. Right side of history. Good, guys. You just keep that up. You keep lying to yourselves.
Yeah. Okay.
But didn't we tell you that they're colonists? They're colonists, so that makes it okay. But they're innocent people. They're colonists. No colonists are innocent. That's what my shirt should say. Innocent colonist.
Right. They wouldn't let him in because he called his own students terrorists. Was he calling the people that were advocating for Hamas terrorists? Because I think that's completely true. I don't have a problem with that. That is a correct statement.
His students are terrorists. What are you talking about?
Right.
I'm terrorized just by the things that they're saying.
Yeah, and it's funny because, obviously you can be against Israel here without being pro-Hamas, but we're seeing that if we're saying that there's a combination of energy on campus right now, which is explicitly pro-Hamas, which we just watched, and also explicitly, wanting America to be destroyed, wanting liberalism to be destroyed. So, yeah,
wanting Tel Aviv to be burned to the ground.
Yeah, I think students and faculty that's advocating for the destruction of America and democracy in favor of socialism should all be expelled from college. It's very simple.
I like that.
Very, very simple.
Can we just deport them to Commie Island? We should just appropriate a little South Pacific island and just say, this is Commie Island, okay?
Well, America does have a bunch of uninhabited islands.
Yeah.
So, we should do that.
Need.
Commie Island, I like it.
We
can call it Coconut Island,
No.
M8566 for $2 says, these people all need one-way tickets to Gaza. There you go.
True.
Brian, for $50, thank you, Brian, says this is what the university supported. So there's a part of me that feels that they reap what they sow as they disregard our warnings, but I'm glad at least some faculty are waking up to the bigoted anti-liberal breeding ground in the university. Definitely. Yeah, I mean, they all did, plant these seeds, and they are all getting their comeuppings. And, this is going to be the wake-up call, hopefully, for these people to be like, okay, we can't allow this woke socialist nonsense to just, be spread in our schools and on our campuses because we're either in support of it or more likely they're just too afraid to call it out because they don't want to get called racist or they don't want to give the right in America, the Republicans in America, a win, which is what's kind of, motivating them.
Yeah, we have another 9 years of this though, so
we'll see.
Then the fourth turning ends. And we go back to the first turning, the new seculum.
There you go. Jay for $20 says,
stuff.
Yeah, well, we'll say. Jay for
$20 of history.
For $20 says these far right white nationalist students are getting out of hand. Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Yeah.
Anonymous Cow for $5 says Sargon has the most British take ever on Israel. It's a faraway place that was once conquered, couldn't care less now, and it's someone else's problem. There you
go.
Go.
Wow.
Matt Geddes for 7 months says, you guys see the middle school in Utah where 70 children walked out in protest over furries? Sounds very similar to the trans social contagion. I did hear about that.
Really?
I didn't look into it. There was some accusation that some kids were furries or something, and then there's some accusation that they weren't furries. They were just wearing like animal ears or masks or something. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I assume that whenever there's like a middle school or high school protest, it's all people just trying to cut class. And I
Yeah.
think that's the safe assumption. But if it is about furries, it's pretty ridiculous. Nomad for $20. Thanks so much. Nomad says, imagine being a parent to one of these kids who put in the effort to be in that college, all the money used and time just to see your kid eating, living in tents, and protesting for a conflict on the other side of the world. True.
Yeah, especially if you're
True.
paying 90 grand a semester for tuition. You're like,
Yeah.
wow, I'm just throwing my money away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we have about almost 1,300 people watching right now. Tomorrow we're supposed to be talking to Bill Labonte from All That Remains and What If All Hissed. I think it's the first time those guys have hung out together. So
Oh,
they're
nice.
coming to hang out on our channel. What If All Hissed made a video, a controversial video about the coming incel insurrection. And we're going to be watching that. Well, I don't know if we're going to watch a video, but we're going to talk about it. So
Okay. Sounds
yeah,
good.
should be fun.
Moondoggy for $10 says, from what I saw, only the kids and faculty get in the campus. Today on my way to get the best parfait, there was a counter protest. Also, most of the people around are just like, Jesus, what now? Yeah, I bet. I bet most people are like, oh my God, they just want to like live their lives, go to college, just walk by. It's so obnoxious.
Yeah, there are plenty of people who probably respect the fact that their parents are paying 90K or they're literally paying 90K themselves in student loans and
Mm-hmm.
they're like, what the, like I'm going so far into debt for this and I have to put up with this nonsense.
Right. Puck 971 for $5 says, their chant reminds me of that scene from The Life of Brian where he's telling him we are all individuals and they are parroting everything Brian says.
Yeah,
There you
that's
go.
why it's funny.
Moondoggy for $5 says, this is some weird South Park episode. That feels like it.
It does.
Alec Det Maring for 7 months. Thanks so much. Says, this is all just the Huxley quote in action. Very true.
Yeah, yeah.
Very true. The
Yeah, I
yeah,
think
what was that?
I have it.
Go
Here
bring
am
up
I.
that delicious Huxley
I think
quote.
I have it. Yeah.
Okay. Twitter sucks for $2 says, quote, we are not collectivists, said the hive mind. Yeah, exactly. Xerxes for 2 years. Look at that. Thank you so much, Xerxes, for 24 months, 2 years of being a member. Says, but remember, Adam, when they mindlessly follow orders, it's good. But when the military does it, it reinforces the colonial empire of America.
Right. So it's not the mindlessly following orders that's the problem. It's the purpose of the orders.
Of course.
Gotcha. Okay, here's the quote. The surest way to work up a crusade in favor of some cause is to promise people the ability to maltreat someone, to be able to destroy with good conscience, to behave badly and call your bad behavior righteous indignation is the most delicious of moral treats. So true.
Exactly.
So true. They're just after that little moral treat. Oh my, look, I bashed someone's head in and it was totally okay.
Yeah, because they were evil colonists, Zionists. So.
Right. Yeah. Oh, scary.
Constrained anarchism for $5. Thank you so much. Says Destiny's take on NPR was annoying. He said it didn't matter because Republicans don't even care about truth and accuse Yuri of being clearly biased. Really? That's pretty surprising and pretty lame. That was pretty pathetically lame. That was his take.
We must be getting close to election day.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. He has like, it's so weird because like I feel like he's super flip-floppy bipolar on that issue. You know, he flip-flops between like acknowledging, you know, if he's like debating like a leftist, he'll acknowledge that the left basically has control of all
the media and culture,
of the media and the mainstream, and then
Yep.
you know, turns around and says it's not true in a different context. So I don't know what's going on here, but Damus for $10 says there was a story the protesters stabbed a lady in her eye. Yeah, there was some woman who said, I believe, that she was stabbed in the eye by a flag or something, and that they went to the hospital. I don't know how serious it was, but Calvin Paffer for $5 says, I was in the crowd shouting some random kid down once. Honestly, it was pretty fun. We were all yelling, Adam is gay.
Oh, that would be amazing.
There you
That
go.
would be amazing. If you could get the whole crowd chanting Adam is gay, that would be epic.
Dialogue Always for $5 says, I wonder how many of these people are native born versus how many are first, second generation immigrants.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I have no clue. I'm guessing that they're all, I would guess that these are all people that are at least second, third generation, fourth generation. So M8566 for $5 says, look, Adam, capitalism sucks. I don't want to own my labor. I think the government should own my labor. There you go. RBGH fan for $5 says, Adam, can you have free market capitalism with fiat currency, or is it just a big game of different groups fighting over the cronyism stick?
Are you still there?
Can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
It says there's no data on the stream.
Yeah, something happened for a second there.
Oh, okay, we're back. Anyway, the
Adam,
super chats. Yeah, okay, you got it.
Adam, can you have free market capitalism with fiat currency, or is just a big game of different groups fighting over the cronyism stick? What is the connection between fiat currency and free market capitalism?
And cronyism.
Yeah, okay. And cronyism. Yeah, good question.
I don't know. It doesn't, those things don't make, I don't understand like how those things would be related at all.
I mean, you can have free market capitalism without fiat currency because you can use some other medium of exchange, I would guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can have it with a fiat currency, obviously.
Right.
It's not, I don't understand the position.
Right.
Stug for $5 says, college should be free. It's a human right. Also, college is a tool for colonialism and should be dismantled. Whatever she said. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Jay for $20 says, the Ivy League is an athletic conference like the Big Ten. They made up the elite New England schools. Being a good school doesn't put you in the Ivy League. That's why Stanford and Duke aren't Ivy League schools.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But you do think of Stanford and Duke as Ivy League because they're the top schools. But I guess Ivy League doesn't just mean top schools. It's this athletic conference. Fascinating. Okay. Thanks.
A 95 Geek for $10 says, quote, we are here illegally occupying this campus to show the world how wrong the illegal occupation of Gaza is, and we will not leave until the world ends illegal occupations. I mean, that's about the size of it.
Exactly. Yeah. Major contradiction there, right?
Nomad for $10 says, not only these students already graduated so they can't get expelled, but now they're ruining the same opportunity for students who are going through the same thing, the bigotry. Well, if that's true, if those are students that have graduated or not students on campus, they should all just be arrested.
Oof.
So send them all to jail.
Yeah.
Prison. Al Favre for $5 says, here in Florida, DeSantis just signed a bill to teach the actual history of communism to help combat the pro-commie agenda being taught in colleges. Yeah, I saw that. I didn't look at the exact bill, but I did see that being reported, and I hope that's a good thing. I hope more states go along with something like that.
I did watch a video where he announced like the bill going into the legislature, and he had a bunch of people speak about the problem, and they were talking about all the communist regimes around the world. And I mean, it was a great presentation. So if they teach anything like that, it'd be perfect.
Through the wormhole for $2 says, late stage capitalism, bitch. We just getting started.
Oh yeah.
There you go. Yaru for 7 months of discipline equals freedom. Thanks so much. Says, already have classmates not doing their work because they are, quote, deeply affected by the events on campus. Never let a good crisis go to waste, I guess. Hey, man, listen. If I was a college kid at Columbia, I'd be like, teacher, as a Jew, I'm deeply affected by these protests. I don't think I can do my homework or my final. I think you're just going to have to give me an A.
Now, Sitch.
I give some sob story.
That only affects you, okay? You need to do the work. You need to get to the top of the meritocracy.
I will without doing my homework in college.
Okay. Well, if you can do that, I fully endorse getting away with it. But
There you go.
some people actually need that stuff. I never really
There you go.
needed that stuff either. I was like
Mhm.
always a light on the reading side, heavy on the listening to the lectures.
Right. Caleb Cynic for $10 says, I have had a realization. These people think they are entitled to all the things their parents had and provided. They are afraid they can't achieve it for themselves, so they want it given to them.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah,
I
maybe.
I think that is a big factor in why a lot of people do turn to communism. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, look, my parents provided for me my entire life. And now
Right.
they're not anymore. Why can't that just continue? It was such a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Renoro Zoro is here for $10 says, so I'm like 15 minutes in the live stream, and why are all the protesters sound like they're women? Is this toxic femininity?
I noticed that too.
A lot of soy energy going on there. Depressed Canadian for 10 Canadian. Thank you. Says the trust fund baby guilt complex is the basis for the majority report. True.
Oh,
Three
great.
wealthy white people who endlessly talk about how working class white people have it easy and should be happy with less. Very true.
Oh.
95 Key for $5 says, quote, as a Jewish man, I'm obviously against, wait, school's canceled until the stop? Long live Hamas. There you go. About the size of it probably for like half of them. YouTube really did not like that super chat. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Ostracy for 25 months. Thank you so much. Look at that. Over 2 years of discipline equals freedom. Says I'm starting to notice a demographic trend with the speakers here. Yeah, a lot of young feminine energy going on here.
Right.
Future Boy for $10 says the best thing is these lesbians and trans are advocating for Palestine, where under Palestinian rule they would be immediately sentenced to death. Big dummies. Very, very true.
Yep. You can say that over and over again, and I've never heard any reply to it. No one on the pro-Palestine side ever answers or has a rebuttal to that. Why is that, Sitch?
Because there isn't one.
Yeah, what do you say, right?
Because there isn't one. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Obviously, it's funny because I didn't even notice, and we've talked about this in the past. Like, apparently, Israel, I think it's like Tel Aviv specifically. I don't know, some Israeli city that's like super, like pro gay or something, and like all the gay people, talk
It's like
about
San
it.
Francisco.
Yeah, it's like San Francisco of the Middle East or something, and yet they're all anti-Israel because it really shows you how powerful, how they're so like everything becomes like this weird race obsession thing because they just view the Israelis as like white European colonizers and the Palestinians as, oppressed brown people. And that just takes over everything in their mind. Automata for $5 says, so has Sitch caught the Fallout show? There's a meritocracy poster in the vault and an oh so subtle false consciousness angle worked into the story. I did see it. I even tweeted, the only thing I tweeted about it was I said it was weird. I didn't expect it to be like pro commie at the end. And yeah, it's really weird at the end of Fallout, like in most of Fallout, it was sort of like implied or explicitly said at a couple points that China, under the communist government of China, is what started the Great War by dropping bombs on America and starting like, the whole post-apocalypse everything. And then they changed it in the TV show and they made capitalism the villain in a way that made no sense. I don't really want to like spoil it. And I don't really have a problem with people making corporate like a business evil, but which is fine. There's lots of evil businesses and you can make a business evil in, fiction. Obviously, I'm a big Final Fantasy VII fan. It's all about a big business being evil. But it's weird that they explicitly tied it in not just to like a business being evil, but they tied into the concept of capitalism, that their actions and motivations are somehow based in capitalism, and it makes literally no fucking sense whatsoever. So it's like a bunch of hack Hollywood, left wing coastal elite writers who literally understand nothing about economics or capitalism, trying to throw this weird dig at the end of Fallout for literally no reason. So Stug for $5 says you guys should try getting Grant Hurst, the casual historian guy on the channel, to talk about some of his stuff. Maybe aristocracy again too. Yeah, definitely. I like casual historian. That would be cool.
Oh, but not aristocracy?
And aristocracy, yes. We should get both of them on. Future Boy for $5 says libs are rejecting DEI bullshit. Trump still ain't gonna win. GOP needs to come back to the middle. The American public is sick of the infighting. Yeah, some libs are waking up to the DI stuff. I'm curious, and I'm glad all this is happening because I think it's going to help them wake up more and more to this. I don't know. The big problem is that it's so easy for people on the left to downplay this or ignore it because they just point to like we have to come together to defeat Trump, and they can just like kind of bat this away as long as Trump's on the horizon. I don't
Right.
think. I mean, I'm not confident who's going to win one way or the other. I think it's going to be very close between Trump and Biden. So I think
Right.
Trump
Yeah.
definitely has a good shot to win. And I think a lot of it's going to depend on I mean, we're still some months away from the election. A lot of it, I think, is going to depend on what the economy is doing. If the economy keeps going in a good direction, because obviously Biden will be in a much more safe, secure place. But if there's some problem and inflation spikes again, economy, goes in a bad place, I think Biden would be cooked.
I think that's likely to happen. Actually, what they're doing with interest rates is just bonkers. So
they're raising them again, right?
Well, everything's been on hold. They were supposed to have 3 interest rate cuts this year, which as soon as there's an interest rate cut, the stock market is going to boom. So, but now the stock market is going down because the Fed keeps coming out and saying, "Oh, we might actually have to raise rates again." It's like,
Right,
what?
right.
Yeah. They're saying inflation could come back.
Hmm.
But a lot of people, including I sent you that video from Mark Blythe, who agrees with the MMT people who say that the raising the interest rates is what's causing the inflation. Like
Right.
if that is correct, then they should lower them immediately, right?
Of course. Of
Yeah.
course. Yeah.
So right now we're at I think 5%, and that 5% is forcing inflation up to 5%, which their target is 2%.
Twitter Sucks for $20. Thank you, Twitter Sucks. Says, do you all remember the movie Ice Age where Sid the Sloth met all the other sloths and they just copied everything he did and said and then ended up trying to sacrifice him? We're watching this happen. It's no longer parody. True.
Yeah.
Jay for $20. Thanks so much. Says there's nothing surprising about a black guy telling a Jewish professor he can't come on campus. Israel's white coded, and that's what this is all about. Well, I mean, yeah, sure. It's just a police officer, though. He's not ideologically motivated by any of this stuff, but it is kind of a funny irony. Maybe this behavior was tolerated because of America as a white majority country. It's not going to stop once it no longer is. I mean, that is true. It needs to be, we need to have liberalism kind of become the dominant ideology again, not this communist nonsense. Nomad for $10 says, look, Adam, it seems like these protesters want the U.S. to colonize Palestine with all the support they're asking for them. S-class is best class, and A-team reigns supreme.
Yeah, they do. They definitely do. They want us over there.
Yes. Libertarian Sasquatch for $5 says, it's funny how leftists love to mock people on the right with freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom from consequences, how the tables turn. Yeah, I mean, I bet you will see all the socialists, all the leftists come out. We're all like saying that exact thing. Freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom from consequences. And they will all be crying tears about, the police coming in and arresting these protesters, which they already were for the first round. And they were referring to it. I saw a bunch of these publications referring to, like the super left-wing publications, referring to, the Colombia president going to Congress as like, it's McCarthyism 2.0 returned. I was like, oh my God. And actually, like that, that Democracy Now people.
Yeah, they're super left wing.
Yeah, they actually, they made a video about it called "The New McCarthyism." Congress grills Columbia University amid crackdown on pro-Palestinian speech. Calvin Paffer for $10 says, what about a movie about one of the uninhabited islands called Pet-Off Island? A movie where the feds send sex offenders to an island, but a plane of Cub Scouts crashes on it and they have to find a way out. That sounds like a terrible idea, Calvin. Sounds like the worst idea from movie I've ever fucking heard.
Can you imagine? That's
No,
look.
I can't. I don't want to.
So basically, you're saying all the pedophiles are shipped off to an island, but there are no children.
Yeah.
So then a plane of Cub Scouts
crashes and they have to survive. Yeah, it's a
crashes.
horrible
Yeah.
movie.
Do they crash right next to the no children sign?
Of course they do. Yeah.
Beware pedophile.
Yeah. That sounds like a South Park episode.
It does.
Yaru for $10 says these people grew up idolizing civil and gay rights protesters against actual oppression. Now they want the same impact and see themselves as heroes even when there are no causes, so they need to make it up.
Yep. Yeah.
Messi 10-8 for $5 says, do you think these level of protests are infringement on freedom of movement? And what is your opinion on the Ben Gurion Canal? Well, I don't know what the Ben Gurion Canal is, but regarding freedom of movement, definitely. I mean, they're literally saying that they're literally telling students they can't enter this area unless they support their cause. So
Ben Gurion Canal is some canal in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
What is Israel's Ben Gurion Canal plan?
Oh, they're trying to build an alternative
Yeah.
to the Suez Canal. That's interesting.
Okay.
I mean, I guess if they want, sure. Obviously, it's going to take them a long time to build that, but.
Oh, look at that. Yeah. And it goes right through Gaza. I mean, that would be good if Gaza did a toll on it, right?
Well, no, it doesn't, I don't know, the picture I'm saying doesn't go through Gaza. It goes close to the Gaza Strip, but not through it.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe it's the different picture, but I mean, that would actually be that'd be a big security problem for them too if it goes close to Gaza.
Right.
I don't know.
Might not be great.
Ostaf for $10 says, I was once partial to S-Class, but since Adam is pro-colonization, it's A team all day.
Nice.
There you go.
Sitch will turn sooner or later. He'll realize the power of colonization.
I mean, listen, I'm pro some colonization, okay? I said we should colonize Gaza.
Right.
So.
Okay, good.
Melita J, thanks so much for joining the Free Will Seekers. Filthy Casual for $10 says, sent you both new songs on Twitter. AI is crazy now. Oh, nice. I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been playing around with, what's it called? Suno as well. Suno.com. You can like type in an AI prompt, or you can just type in a prompt and it'll create like a song. And they're pretty good. I was doing silly songs about God of War and Pokemon and stuff. Nomad for $10 says, Sitch, did you hear about the guy who caught himself on fire in front of the New York courthouse? Same one Trump has been going to. He had a bunch of papers full of conspiracies with him. Yeah, I saw that. He lit himself on fire in some kind of weird protest. And I think originally people were like, it was kind of muddled as to what his belief system was. And then someone dragged up supposedly, I don't know if this has been debunked. Supposedly, I saw someone had dredged up his Reddit in that he declared himself an anarcho-communist and he believed a bunch of like wackadoodle conspiracy theories. And like, listen, if this is going to be the new protest that like crazy people do, I'm all for it. Okay. I would prefer that people, instead of shooting up schools, just light themselves on fire. Right? It's a much better alternative.
Well, look, I don't want anyone to kill themselves, obviously.
If those are our choices.
Yeah.
Right.
But if it's a choice between killing themselves or killing a bunch of innocent people, yeah, sure, I'm with you. Definitely.
Mason Jordan for $5 says, S-Class Captain. I retroactively appreciate all the History Channel docs my dad and granddad made me watch instead of anime when I was young. There you go.
Nice. That's you made Mason a captain. I remember now. Look, he's already thrown down.
Forking Around for $5 says, have you guys watched Lauren Chen's video on democracy? Would be cool to have her on Fork Supremacy. I haven't. I do actually want to talk to her at some point. You know, I saw clips of her on Twitter talking about like
anti-democracy.
Yeah, saying she's anti-democracy and talking about like repealing the right for women to vote and stuff. So I would be curious to talk to her about that.
Yeah, what's going on there?
I don't know. Jonathan Smith for $5 says, I agree loans make money. The vast majority of loans are private, though. The interest rate prevents more private loans, thus restricting inflation.
No, I know. Look, we've talked about this many times on the show.
Yeah.
There's two forces here. There is the restricting of loans, which loans obviously grow the money supply the way it's set up now. So if I take out a loan for $100,000, that grows the money supply by $100,000. When I pay it back, it shrinks the money supply by $100,000. But there's also a bunch of treasury bills that are the United States debt, and the interest income channel on that debt. If I have $100,000 and I buy a treasury bill, I'm going to make 5% on that, and that they're going to print money to pay me that 5% interest. It's called interest income. I don't have to pay that back. That's forever in the money supply until it's taxed away, until they tax me for it. So that's the difference. Those two forces are in play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Girl Sarah for $5 says, I'd like to add to the Israel-Palestine debate, to quote the Black Eyed Peas, Father, 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 help us. We need some guidance from above because people got me questioning where's the love. There you go.
Yeah, I like
Black
that
Eyed
song.
Peas, man. They always know what's up. Dr. Diddler for $2 says, Hassan's streaming about this right now. I'm expecting some more nuggets from the internet's least favorite cancer. Yeah, I saw that and I was going to check it out when we're done. When it's done and uploaded, I was going to go through it, see if there's anything good to cover.
What was it? Who is it?
Hassan's covering, all the protest stuff now. And I can only assume he's simping for it hardcore, so.
Yeah, definitely.
Dr. Liv for another $2 says, Destiny is a great example of how tribalism can rot your brain. If you explained his conception of Republicans as comically stupid and bad under another name, he'd probably say it's unrealistic for anyone to act like that. There you go.
Probably. Yeah, it's true. He's using that stereotype that he claimed he never uses.
Yep. Okay, so this story is pretty funny. This was from the first round of protests. This article is insane. The title of this article, Homeless, Zip-Tied, Hungry. Ilhan Omar's daughter recounts protest arrest.
And of course, it's on the Daily Beast, so
yeah,
this is one of the worst websites for anything fact-based. It's all just basically partisan nonsense.
When Isra, I don't know how to say her name, Isra Hershey, joined several of her Barnard College and Columbia University peers in the pro-Palestinian campus protest known as the Gaza encampment, she had no idea she would ended up suspended, homeless, and left without food within a matter of days. Oh my God. Does anyone believe that Ilhan Omar's daughter, who's going to this hyper expensive private university, doesn't have money or a credit card to walk to a restaurant or get a hotel room or fly to wherever the fuck her home is? She gets suspended from college.
Look,
does anyone believe that for a fucking second?
Maybe Ilhan Omar has turned her room into a guest room already. She can't go home.
She's doing an Airbnb.
Yeah, exactly.
She's like, you can't come home. Okay, we got an Airbnb going on.
Isra, look, we've got your room rented out.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. In an interview with Teen Vogue. Oh, there you go.
Oh my God, no.
There you go. The daughter of the outspoken Congresswoman Ilhan Omar recounted the violence with which the college reacted to student activism, detailing the arrest and subsequent sanctions she faced. Of course, this article doesn't say anything about the people literally advocating for Hamas to destroy Israel and kill Jews and any of that stuff, right? None of that's talked about.
They're just innocently walking across campus when the Nazi thugs intercepted them.
Mm-hmm. The evil police came by and they said, hey, you can't just set up a bunch of camps and tents here like you're homeless and live in the middle of the fucking, live in the middle of the square here. So
did they?
Oh, we'll get there.
Okay.
Early Thursday morning, just 24 hours into the encampment. Like that, just over 24 hours in the encampment. Like that's a bad thing. It took them 24 hours to get people to not, be camping on campus. Hersey and the 100+ other protesters were crammed into a corrections bus and sent downtown to Police Plaza, a process that took up the entire day. She said, quote, we had so many people who were born female in our group that they didn't have enough space for us. It was a very slow process in getting everybody into the cells. Why is it all these fucking dumb women? What's going on here? Why have the women specifically been so socially contagion with this nonsense? Or is that just because women are always fall easier prey to social contagions?
Oh yeah, of course.
Like so much of wokeness, and specifically this is all just toxic femininity. That was completely correct. Super chatters that were saying that. A lot of toxic femininity going on here. She says, quote, I was zip tied for about 7 hours and wasn't released for about 8. But when she returned to campus, she found only more barriers. Hersey knew that when she was suspended, it meant she no longer had access to her housing and on-campus dorm. That meant she had lost access to all of her possessions and didn't know where she would find housing that night. I was a little bit frantic, like, where am I going to sleep? Where am I going to go? All of my shit is thrown in a random lot. It's pretty horrible. I don't know when I can go home, and I don't know if I ever will be able to.
Did they really just storm through a room and dump everything outside? That just doesn't seem plausible to me.
I don't know. I hope so. It's kind of funny. What is this like bullshit? You were camping on protest and they told you that, they told them to stop. And if they didn't stop, they were going to, get arrested. What did they think was going to happen? Like these kids are so fucking delusional. They all want to play pretend. They all want to LARP as as the revolutionaries. And yet, as soon as they actually like get in trouble, as soon as they get arrested, they're like, oh, I couldn't eat for like half a day. I got kicked out of college. This is a violation of my human rights. It was just like those kids, in that other college that were complaining when they basically locked themselves in the dean's office and refused to leave. And then they're complaining about their treatment afterwards by the police. They all just want to LARP and get the virtue signaling social credit of being part of the protest and not actually suffering any of the consequences.
Consequence-free life. That's what everyone's after.
Throw them all in jail. To make matters worse, Hersey also lost access to the dining hall as a result of her suspension. So this is saying she was only suspended. I hope she was expelled. Where she had been getting the majority of her meals. She said she appealed to the administration for help, but was ultimately left to fend for herself. Quote, I sent them an email like, hey, I rely on campus for my meals. I rely on my dining plan. And they were like, oh, you can come pick up a prepackaged bag of food a full 48 hours after I was suspended. There was no food support, no nothing. Okay. So wait, first of all, her statement doesn't make sense because she literally said that she emailed them and they said that they had food for her, which I think is super fucking cucked. Anyway, I would have been like, well, you should have thought of that before you got arrested. Right?
No way they should have given her a bag of bagels.
Oh, there you go. Man. Oh, they should have got her a bag of bagels or food that was like from specifically an Israeli company.
I know, that would have been great.
Like, oh, I mean, you could eat it, but you'd be violating the divestment, whatever it's called thing, the divestment thing, the BDS movement. Let's see. Hersey also criticized Bernard's president for the college's violence against its own students and drew a sharp contrast to actions taken by the Columbia president. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Is there anything else interesting?
I'm not sure I buy any of this, to be honest.
You don't buy any of this whining and crying?
Well, look, it's a suspension, and suspension usually means you can't go to class. It doesn't mean like you're kicked out of your dormitory. The dormitories they function under housing law. You can't just evict someone immediately, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, you might be able to if they commit a crime.
Yeah, this just doesn't seem. And then the idea that her stuff was like thrown out of the room. I don't know. Maybe the cops threw stuff out of her tent when she was arrested.
Well, obviously because they tore it down. Yeah.
Yeah, but in the article, it's kind of implying that they went through her dorm room and kind of threw all her stuff out.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. You're right. That is weird. That is very weird as to what's going on there.
I would
So,
think that she got kicked out of her tent. They, obviously if you're being arrested, they take all of your possessions into custody. They probably threw all of her stuff out of the tent and then rounded it up and took it with them. Now she's making it seem like she didn't have access to her room, her dorm room.
you're right.
This
And it wouldn't,
all
and if it was
seems fishy.
suspended, that wouldn't make sense. If she was expelled, that would make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting.
And look, even if you were expelled, I don't think they can just throw you out on the street. They got to give you like a 30-day notice to find some other place to live.
I don't know what the rules are related to that.
Yeah, I can't. This doesn't pass the smell test.
You think she's making a lot of this up?
Yeah, I think this is all just, look, somebody from the Daily Beast called her up and she's like just lying to them, and they're just, oh my God,
well, Teen Vogue.
Omar's kid. Yeah, exactly. Teen Vogue.
Yeah.
The height of American journalism. Right? Teen Vogue. Oh my God, they did what?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I don't buy any of this.
You don't buy any of it?
No.
Okay.
Maybe we should go to the actual Teen Vogue.
Yeah, I'm kind of scanning the Teen Vogue article right now.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah. She says that she was charged with trespassing.
She was trespassing.
Of course she was, yeah.
Yeah.
So she says, kind of repeats that we were not allowed back in our dorms. She doesn't really explain why or how.
Look at this. The whole point of the encampment was to shed light on Colombia's complicity in genocide.
Of course, yeah.
And to focus back on the folks in Gaza, she said. It's such a weird worldview where some institution that has absolutely nothing to do with what's going on in Gaza needs to drop everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and if you don't, you're complicit. Right?
Right.
I mean, didn't they put out a statement? They're not complicit. They said, look, this sucks. Okay, go to class now.
Oh, this is interesting. It sounds like she's saying that if you wanted, they would give you a 15-minute window to like go get your stuff out of your room, and that she knew someone that did that, but she refused, saying that she wasn't going to subject herself to that treatment.
Okay. Oh my God. They said, hey, you want to go get your stuff? And she said, no.
Yes.
You keep it. And now they took my stuff.
And then she said one of her professors went and tried to retrieve a different student's belongings, and they treated the professor like shit. Like the student was a criminal. Well, I mean, they were arrested for committing a crime, so that's fair, right?
Yeah, maybe they were a Jewish student.
There you go. Let's see. More dumb questions. So, okay, let me read. This is a statement from the president of Colombia on what happened today. Okay. And what's going on in the last couple of days. Let me know if you think it's a good statement or what. I am deeply saddened by what is happening on our campus. Our bonds as a community have been severely tested in ways that will take a great deal of time and effort to reaffirm. Students across an array of communities have conveyed fears for their safety, and we have announced additional actions we are taking to address security concerns. The decibel of our disagreements has only increased in the recent days. These tensions have been exploited and amplified by individuals who are not affiliated with Colombia, who have come to campus to pursue their own agendas. We need a reset. I mean, so far, this sounds like some weak-ass pussy shit. The decibel of our disagreement? Man, you need to be like, this shit will not be tolerated. We will not tolerate people advocating for violence on this campus, period. We will not tolerate people supporting terrorist organizations like Hamas on this campus, period. You will be expelled. No questions asked. Okay, we are instituting new policies to prevent this shit. That's going to say, if you want to protest on campus, you need to get permission from whatever the administration. And if you don't, then we will arrest you.
Man.
We need to crack down on this stuff.
You just sound like an institutional statist.
Listen.
I got to have a permit to protest.
Yes.
I don't.
What?
The
This is a
permit
fucking. What is this bullshit? This is college, okay? Why is this idea, this fucking weird ass idea, college, a place that people are spending all this money to send their kids to get a fucking degree in education, and these dumb fucking privileged motherfuckers think it's like a daycare center where they get to skip class and play camp out in the fucking quad, and disrupt class and disrupt graduation and all this other stuff.
Yeah, obviously that sucks. I think there should be certain rules around protests. And the whole idea that you have to get a permit to protest, I really don't. I detest, because then
it's a private university. It's private property.
So,
I mean, you can't just like show up at someone's private property and be like, I'm protesting here because freedom of speech. Like, that's not how any of this shit works.
Right. Yeah. Look, it depends upon what kind of protest you're doing, obviously.
Right.
But I'm like, if you want to go on campus and talk to people, I don't think you should need to get a permit to do that.
Yes.
If you want to go and like camp and spend the night and basically prevent other people from using the campus, that should be illegal. Like, you shouldn't be able to do that even if you have a permit.
Obviously.
Like, it just seems that they need to structure the rules that are like, this is the appropriate way to protest that. And I understand there are other forms of protests like sit-ins and stuff like that where you plan on getting arrested. The whole point is to get arrested. So look, if that's what they're doing, congratulations, you got arrested. Okay. That's what you were after. It was done. Good job. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with everything you're saying. But I think for now, while they're trying to stop all this stuff, that they should just be like, no protest.
Right.
To just be able to crack down on all this nonsense.
That's the other thing too, because you can't incorporate into your protest like violent threats.
Yes.
Because violent threats are illegal. Like, regardless of whether they take place inside a protest or, just talking to someone, right? Yeah. So I think obviously that covers part of this, because the problem I have with these protests is that they're making violent threats.
Well,
right.
I mean, that's my problem with it philosophically. And I don't think universities should be supporting people that are advocating for violence. The legal question, I think it depends on state, but I think most states you can technically make violent threats, I think, as long as you're not directing it at a specific individual.
Or groups of individuals. I'm certain of it. There's all these anti-racist laws on the books.
Yeah, but remember, it's like because we had that super long conversation with what's his name? Rakita about this, where there's like all these like weird rules where like you can burn a cross, and make threats in your own backyard, but then if you were to like mail that video to a black person, then it's illegal.
Okay.
Of you doing it. So I mean, I guess you could say like what you're saying is true.
Campus policy, obviously.
Right. Yeah, 100. It would be a violation of campus policy, but you're right. It would be illegal because you're doing it on campus in an open space where other people can see and hear you when you're advocating for like killing people.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No. So definitely true. But anyway, let me continue this really cucked letter so far from the president, who's talking about the decibel of our disagreements, which is so fucking pathetic. There's a terrible conflict raging in the Middle East with devastating human consequences. I understand there are many experiencing deep moral distress and want Colombia to help alleviate this by taking action. We should be having serious conversations about how Colombia can contribute. I don't know how Colombia should be relating the conversation of Israel and Gaza, but okay. There'll be many views across our diverse community about how best to do this, and that is as it should be. We cannot have one group dictate the terms and attempt to disrupt important milestones like graduation to advance their point of view. Let's sit down and talk and argue and find ways to compromise on solutions. This is so cucked.
Compromise? How about this? You go to jail. That's my compromise.
Yeah. That's like, yeah, obviously one group can't dictate the terms and attempt to disrupt everything. Yeah. So throw them in jail. Don't be like, listen, guys, we need to all just sit down and talk about it, our feelings. They're not interested. These fucking pieces of shit are not, these dumb kids are not interested in this. Okay. And having a conversation.
Yeah. Why do we care about their feelings?
Yeah. To de-escalate the rancor and give us all a chance to consider next steps, I am announcing that all classes will be held virtually on Monday. Faculty and staff who can remote work should do so. Essential personnel should report to work according to university policy. Our preference is that students who do not live on campus will not come to campus. During the coming days, a working group of deans, university administrators, and faculty members will try to bring this crisis to a resolution. That includes continuing discussions with the student protesters and identifying actions we can take as a community to enable us to peacefully complete the term and return to respectful engagement with each other. Bullshit. That's what you tell them. You don't talk to any of these people. Just be like, listen, you all have to disperse or you're all just going to jail and you're all being expelled. We have a zero tolerance policy for this shit. Okay. We are establishing order in this fucking school. Fuck you all.
Calling it a crisis is hugely cucked too. It's like
yes,
a bunch of kiddies created a crisis for you.
Yes.
Yeah. Call the
That's
police. True. Send out the paddy wagons. This isn't a crisis. This is a crisis that you're stuck in the cuck chair sitting in the corner. That's a crisis. That's a campus crisis. The campus crisis is you're too much of a cuck to do anything about it.
The cuck crisis, yeah.
Yeah.
I know that there is much debate about whether or not we should use the police on campus, and I'm happy to engage in those discussions. Oh my God. But I don't.
After we use the police.
Yeah, after, yeah. But I do know that better adherence to our rules and effective enforcement mechanisms would obviate the need for relying on anyone else to keep our community safe. We should be able to do this ourselves. That time has passed. Over the past days, there has been too many examples of intimidating and harassing behavior on our campus. Anti-Semitic language, like any other language that is used to hurt and frighten people, is unacceptable and appropriate action will be taken. We urge those affected to report these incidents through university channels. We also remind everyone of the support available for anyone adversely affected by current events. We are a caring, mature, thoughtful, and engaged community. Are you a caring, mature, thoughtful, engaged community? I mean, not from the videos that we just watched.
It's so bizarre to me. These people went from, a year ago, basically being the police for microaggressions.
Yes.
To now all of a sudden they can't call. They're getting mad because people want to call the police on them for being violently anti-Semitic.
I know.
Yeah.
They're all hypocritical liars. What a shock.
It's just bizarre to me.
The last part of the letter says, let's remind ourselves of our common values of honoring, learning, mutual respect, and kindness that have been the bedrock of Columbia. I hope everyone could take a deep breath, show compassion, and work together to rebuild the ties that bind us together. Wow. So cucked. So cucked.
What ties bind them together?
I don't know.
They hate your guts. They see you as a colonial white oppressor.
Yes.
You have no ties that bind you
the
together.
president is like of Egyptian origin or something. So.
Oh, well, good.
Yeah. Yeah, super cucked. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I'm curious how this all shakes out, but I wouldn't be surprised if she gets fired. So.
Oh, it's a woman?
Yes. It was the woman that we watched the clip of that spoke.
Oh, that's her?
Yes. That was the woman that we saw speaking to Congress the other day.
Wow. So she's just on her hands and knees begging, man. She's got the knee pads out. She's like, please, oh, please stop making my job so difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Stop doing this. You're making us look so bad. Look, I am a woman of color. Help me.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Let me read some supers. Ryan Ale for $5 says a co-creator of Fallout said himself that China dropped the bombs first, found out the US was working on the forced evolutionary virus. Yeah, I saw that clip. Yeah. Yep. That's why it's weird. Like there was some old leaked script for a Fallout movie or something that was like written in 1998. And apparently they took the plot points of who dropped the bombs first from that movie and they shoved it in their show 20 years later, even though it kind of contradicts all the lore that had been established since then.
Wow.
So, really dumb.
Am I going to have to watch this? Because it seems like we're going to be talking about it for a long time.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was kind of boring.
That's what
A lot.
everyone says. The last thing I want to do is watch a boring movie.
I
That's
don't
what
know,
everyone
like
said about Civil War too. Civil War is supposed to be so boring.
a lot of like more normie people liked it. Um, I thought it was kind of boring. It felt kind of meandering. You'd probably feel the same way. It's not very clearly focused. It's kind of emulating the effect of the video game, which is that you have like a main objective and then you get sidetracked with a bunch of shit, which okay, that's how video games work, but I don't know. I don't think that's necessarily how like a narrative story TV show
No,
should work.
bad.
And I think you'd be really confused. I think anyone that doesn't know about Fallout would be really confused because they do a very poor job of setting up and explaining what's actually going on in the universe. So they're like very slowly to like dole out information. So you're kind of watching a lot of things without proper context of like what the fuck's going on. So
Congratulations. I hate it.
yeah. Jonathan Smith for $5 says that was a great explanation. Let me shift your paradigm. Everything the U.S. government spends ends up in private banks in the end, and that generates. That was the
Is
end
this
of the
my
super chat.
paradigm shifter?
Yeah.
Jonathan,
Everything.
that was a great explanation. That was my explanation. Let me shift your paradigm. Everything the U.S. government spends ends up in a private bank in the end, and that generates maybe inflation. Look, government spending does end up in a private bank. Obviously, when the government sends out Social Security checks, they direct deposit them into private banks of individuals. So yes, they do end up in private banks, but they aren't a bank loan that the person has to actually pay back. They're like, here you go.
Calvin Paffer
So
for $5 says, "Hey Adam, if you were stranded in the administrative office, how long until you ran out Sitch?"
ran out Sitch for what? Sitch is a saint. I'm
For
never gonna
being a
rat Sitch
Jew. You're
out.
like, listen, I know a Jew. I know someone you can get.
I have more Jewish friends than just Sitch, but I'm not turning in my Jewish pals
There you go.
for these Palestinian Nazi thugs.
Nice.
Yeah, look, we're rising up.
Adam's got my back. M8566 for $5 says, imagine having to deal with the consequences of your actions. Shame, shame. There you go.
Exactly.
Human Flourishing for $5 says, wokes insist, quote, diversity is our strength, and in the same breath, emphasize the irreconcilable differences between literal neighboring Jews and Arabs. True.
Yep. Yeah.
Dodos for $5 says it's very telling that she defaults to me when she experiences 1/100th of the impact the October 8th victims or the Palestinian civilians experience.
Yeah.
True.
You're not in a Gazan tunnel right now. Jeez. Can you imagine?
Mm-hmm. Fiery Patriot for 11 months says, right. George Soros has a bad idea. Left. Anti-Semitism. Left. Ban the Jews from school. Left. This is fine. Yep.
Ouch.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, there's lots of anti-Semitism on the right too. Let's not pretend otherwise. But the anti-Semitism on the left has been completely hand waved away until recently. So I'm glad it's all coming to the surface.
Oh shit. Fuck.
You just deleted a message by mistake?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
What
Oh, sorry.
fuck? Oh fuck.
Ryan for $5. You can, if you remember your message, you can type it in chat. I think Adam accidentally deleted it.
I just fucking clicked on what the fuck? I just clicked on the right. How do I undo? There should be an undo for that because
there is in the chat, but I don't know how to undo it in the super chats. In the normal chat, you can undo it.
Let's see if I can cruise all the way up to it.
So I don't know.
It fucking sucks.
Shame.
I know, Brian. I feel horrible.
You should.
Let's see if it's in the.
Rip.
Oh, I found the super chat in the chat, and there is nothing to.
There's no way to undo it. Yeah.
The fuck.
We'll just write it in the normal chat, Brian. I'll read it out.
If you can, yeah. Or to your best
Human Flourishing
approximation.
For $5 says diversity is great. I'm in an interracial marriage, but first diversity is a problem to be solved. Only then can it be enjoyed. Mid East hasn't yet. I mean, I think you need to have a you need to have a sense of liberalism, a sense of individual rights as the basis in order to like have diversity in your society work. So
Well,
that's why diversity is breaking down under the socialists and the non-liberals.
look, and you have to build an ethnicity that's separate from skin color. That's, not. Well, I guess ethnicity is a troubled word, like a culture. You have to have a culture where you're basically emphasizing the similarities between people and not the differences, such as skin color. And
right.
Yeah. So, but we don't do that enough. We don't focus on how we're all just cool.
Right.
Yeah.
I went back and I just actually scrolled back into the stream to find this.
Oh yeah, that was what I was thinking of doing.
Brian for $5. Thank you, Brian says. So basically the faculty will bend over backwards to give them what they want so they can stop. Nothing changes. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. It seems pretty nothing changes. I wouldn't be surprised if the president gets fired, depending on how this is handled. So hopefully if they're weak, they will get fired. Hopefully, we'll see. Rigo Zora for 25 months. Thanks so much for being over 2 years supporter. Says Goodwill Hunting was made today. Will and Skylar wouldn't date because she'd be too busy protesting in the quad and gassing Will with white privilege. True.
Might become an unlikable character at that point.
That's right. Okay, let me see. Why is this tab taking so long to refresh? Okay, anyway, that's it, Adam. Oh, wait, no.
Oh, yeah, one more.
Sir Hostess of Liver for 100 Kazarks said in 2021, while already graduated and working in the Czech Republic, I was emailed by my former uni in London to assure that they are standing strong with all black people for the cause of some U.S. guy overdose. That's crazy. That was crazy how like George Floyd was like became some like weird global thing in Europe they had nothing to do with.
Yeah, everyone wanted to get in on the action.
Depressed Canadian for 10 Canadian. Thank you. Says Jesse Single referred to the leftist hermetically sealed bubbles with the cast review. Will the leftist echo chamber double down or will they just pivot and pretend they never held the position? Oh, they're going to double down completely and triple down and they will quadruple down. They will only pivot when it is like the rubble has, the fire has consumed everything and it's just ash and rubble. That's the only time they'll attempt to pivot.
Yeah, Jesse's been going off. I retweeted a few of those tweets because he's being merciless with them, which is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to get him on soon, hopefully. And I want to ask him to kind of go over the cast review and stuff.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. Yeah. So once again, we're supposed to talk to Phil from All That Remains and What If All Is Tomorrow. I'll message him when we get off the stream and make sure that everything's on. So, but great show, Sitch. Thanks for putting that compilation together. It's totally amazing. And I guess bye-bye.
See y'all tomorrow.